Think about this, and again, from my perspective in the work that I do, there are a lot of proposals that I see that have very creative, unique, innovative, budget on target. I could name a whole bunch of characteristics, but the bottom line is that they're very solid proposals, but they miss one element, in my opinion, and I would like to seek your input on how valuable you think this one element is, and that is however else you might want to describe it, it ultimately is a deliverable. What's the product that you have out of this? What's the outcome? And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not associated with a measure of some kind, but what is it that you're going to achieve as a result of this? And if it's just broader appreciation for something, that certainly has value. But in many of the agencies that I work with, that what they're looking for is what's the outcome? What's the product that results? And in particular with DoD, there has to be an end goal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, it always comes back to who's your customer, what's the problem, what need are you solving, and what are the benefits of your technology, and how do you do it better than the leading competitor. You know, that always, no matter what you're doing, has to be in the back of your mind all the time. And it's iterative, so that's always changing based on what your customer's telling you.
Sure.
The big buzzword in corporate and foundation today is impact. You know, what is your impact? How many people are you going to impact? And they're going to go to that section before they go to many others. They want to know, you know, what they're getting for their money, the return on investment, and we help faculty tell that story in the language of the funder.
Excellent. Rob?
Thanks. The vast majority of the time, a single grant isn't going to take you to a marketable product. With that in mind, there's not a deliverable in the sense of a product per se, but you want to demonstrate to a funder or to an investor the value of this project, and that might be feasibility, proof of concept. In the drug development world, it might be, you know, some data that relates to preclinical development. You're an immunologist and you have the basis for what might be a pediatric vaccine. No one's going to touch that with a 10-foot pole until you can show them squeaky clean gene toxicity data, because this is likely to be chronically administered to pediatric patients, different than an Alzheimer's drug. If you can show that, that builds value. It de-risks your opportunity, even in some incremental fashion, but it's a tangible thing, and therefore you build value and think of you know, putting together a series of grants and creating your own kind of syndicate of investors, that each investment, each grant, each project takes you one inflection point in time. We call them value inflection points, you know, and basically they're points of de-risking. You know, this opportunity, they're all risky by definition, you know, but to the extent that you can chip away at that and show an investor, show a funder that that's how this has been parlayed, their investment has been parlayed. That's impact for them, it's certainly impact for you, and it just helps develop the story.
Excellent. And one more thing I'll say is, you know, even if it's perfect, even if it is a perfect proposal, you may not get the funding. I mean, the cards are stacked against you in a lot of cases. So persistence, finding ways to bootstrap, to continue to work on your story, to refine the way you communicate that story, you know, sticking with it will pay off in the long run.
Yeah, I'd like to just echo that. We've done surveys on faculty and find that after the first rejection, resubmission rates are very low. And we do everything possible to turn that around and to encourage resubmissions, because in fact the rate of acceptance in resubmissions is usually higher with the agencies, or at least that's our findings.
Well, a number of our grant programs have resubmission opportunities built in if not funded the first time around. There is no quicker way to get a second rejection than to provide no evidence that you even paid attention to the feedback that reviewers or our internal due diligence has offered you. You know, if you're not going to respond to that, you know, boy, that that really sabotages your opportunity right there. You know, there's a lot of pretty smart people who spend time, you know, considering what you've got, and certainly you want to
That's
honor that. Not necessarily you have to accept everything, but you at least want to be responsive.
That's absolutely true. You want to pay attention to the review and respond to it.